Okay, so I'm kind of just getting the hang of this Instagram thing. It's not like I'm a technophobe. I just don't really. I've never really used it before, and I probably should explain why I've decided to come up with this as an idea of something to do. I Sorry, I'm just trying to find my words. I should probably explain every part of the beginning of my story, really. I was officially diagnosed in the UK in July 2011 when I was 24. And the reason I was diagnosed with antiphospholipid syndrome was because I had a stroke on holiday in Spain with my girly friends on a girly holiday. It was terrifying for everybody, actually, and the doctors in Spain said it was alcohol poisoning, even though I couldn't walk or talk. I couldn't feel half my body. My hand was sealed closed. Oh, it was awful. They made me carry on my holiday for 3 days. I just wanted to believe that it was alcohol poisoning. But when I came back to the UK, I flew. Luckily, I didn't have an incident on the plane. When I came back to this country, I was basically admitted straight away from A&E. And I'd had a stroke. And on my brain scans, they'd seen that I'd had a couple of TIAs previously as well. So that's how that bit started. It was long, obviously, and terrifying, and it took nearly a year to learn to walk again. And it took about 6 to 8 months to open my hand, let alone, start to write or anything like that. It took a very, very long process, and I was going into my second year of university, and it was all very, very scary. So that's kind of the beginnings of it all. During all the testing, they found, like I said, that I'd had TIAs previously, and then they found that I had antiphospholipid syndrome. Other random things that they found, like apparently I've got something called a cervical rib, which is like an extra rib or something. So I was instantly medicated on warfarin from that point on. I met my husband whilst I was at university. His name's Chris. He's amazing. And we got married in 2014. He never knew me really before my stroke, so he didn't know the Vicky before, only the Vicky after. But he's been phenomenal. And I'm very lucky to have him. So we decided after we got married that we wanted to try for a family. Now, we knew that with APS it would be a challenge, at the very least. So went to get advice from lots of doctors and specialists, and they advised to come off warfarin to start with and to go on to deltapirine injections. So on the doctor's advice and the anticoagulation clinic's advice, I was told I had to stop warfarin for 3 days and then start taking deltapirine injections on the 4th day. Pretty much as soon as I stopped taking warfarin, I noticed that there were some things going on. I had weird pains. I was calling the doctors constantly, like, what is going on with me? I didn't understand. I was worried. On the 3rd day, my husband had to call an ambulance because I said I felt like someone sat on my chest. Ambulance came. Turns out I was having a heart attack. I had a heart attack due to a blood clot that was next to my heart, which was caused by the fact that I'd stopped taking warfarin and I was incorrectly bridged. In fact, I wasn't bridged at all onto deltapirine. So went back onto warfarin straight after that, basically, and have been on it ever since. Babies are completely off the table now. I've come to terms with that. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't want to bring a child into a situation that is so unstable. I know that there are complications that people have with pregnancy. I could have another stroke whilst pregnant. I could die. The child could die, which would be devastating. I could have a stroke at any other stage. Maybe, after giving birth, I could be completely, out of whack, not a functioning person. And I wouldn't, there are just so many variables of bad possibility that it just wouldn't be fair to bring a child into that situation. I am a firm believer. I mean, I'm not very religious, but I am a very firm believer in things that happen for a reason. Like if I was meant to have a child, I'd be able to have one. I wouldn't want to push the boundaries of science in order for me to have a child. I find that very, very selfish. And that's not a choice that we want to make. Each to their own. Everybody can do what they want to, but for us personally, it's just not feasible. Anyway, so after that point, thought nothing of it. Then, without sounding gross, I realised that there's going to be some men that watch this video, but I was having very, very heavy menstrual cycles in the last probably year and a half or so. And I wanted to try and see if there was something that can be done to stop that, bearing in mind that with babies off the table, I didn't really see the need in having, any of my organs in that area, So, went to see specialists again. My normal specialist, I see a rheumatologist, I see a thrombosis doctor. Obviously, I see haematologists constantly. So I went to go and get some advice from that. And they advised that I couldn't have a hysterectomy because I can't take hormone replacement therapy when on APS, with having APS and with being on warfarin. So that's fine. But I heard about a procedure called an ablation. An ablation, they basically, it sounds grim, but they burn the inside of your uterus so that it stops producing a lining or something. So I thought that's fine. So let's go for that. So I went for testing for that. During the testing of that, so they test, they do scans of your bits and pieces and they want to see what's going on. They found that I had a tumour on my ovary. I just thought I was getting a bit fat, but whatever. I found it was a 27 centimetre tumour. It was huge. So they then realised I needed to have surgery, which was hard to take actually, because I wasn't allowed to lie on my front. I wasn't allowed to do basically anything that might set it off. Walking around thinking you might have cancer is pretty frightening. They said that they wouldn't be able to do a biopsy because if they, moved it slightly, then it could trigger something else, spread around the body or whatever. So I was admitted into hospital on the 8th of December last year to come off of warfarin safely this time. They wanted me to be an inpatient. I was at St Thomas's Hospital. They wanted me as an inpatient so that they could monitor me coming off of warfarin before I had surgery on the 12th. So I had surgery on the 12th. Luckily, it all went very well. I had a laparotomy, which means I had basically a 30 centimetre cut going all the way down the middle of my tummy. I have got pictures of it on my Instagram. And they took the tumour out. It weighed 11 pounds in total. It was pretty massive. And then I was hospitalised, and obviously until I was ready to come home. And since then, I haven't been back to work because obviously there's a huge recovery period. They basically cut through all of your core muscles and nerve endings and all sorts. It's like an 8 to 10 week recovery. So I've been home pretty much. Well, I have been home the whole time. Yeah, so that was last year's issues. Then it kind of got worse again. Then I had what can only be described as an incident on the 21st of November last year. it was terrifying. We had to call an ambulance. It was happened during my sleep. I don't actually remember anything about it. I was ambulanced into my local hospital, and they didn't know what it was, so we all put it down to like being a night terror, whatever. Didn't think anything of it, thought it was just a one-off because of the stress of going, you know, knowing I was going to be having surgery soon or whatever. Then it happened again last Monday. It happened, I was in, you know, went to A&E, and they again didn't know what was going on. They couldn't give me an answer, and I started to freak out because I was like, you're just going to let me go home again without knowing what's wrong with me? That's terrifying in itself. I demand to see a specialist of some kind. So that was on last Monday, and then last Tuesday they said, well, we can get you in to see a TIA stroke nurse. So I thought, okay, that's fine. Maybe they can help. Maybe it was something. All the scans they did in the hospitals came back negative, so we'll see. Luckily, last Tuesday, literally the day after, I thought, I'm going to go alone because they're probably just going to refer me to some department that, you know, whatever. So I went alone, went to the hospital. When I was greeted, when I, you know, went for my appointment, expecting it to be with just a TIA stroke nurse. So a man comes out, and he goes, oh, I'm a doctor. I'm actually, you know, like a doctor lecturer. Sorry, there's my dog. Hi, Gibbsy. And he came out and he said, I don't suppose you mind if you have some medical students in this appointment with you? And I was like, no, of course not. You know, I'm a bit of a strange case. APS, strokes, heart attack. And then I've had the tumour. I'm like a great medical case, if you like. So I went in, the stroke nurse lady was in there, him and the medical students. Luckily, I had got a voice recording of my husband explaining what happened on the 21st of November, as well as what happened, you know, on the Monday before. I described everything, and they turned around and said, this is textbook. You are having complex absence seizures. And I went, okay. And they said, we need to have it officially diagnosed by a neurologist, but trust me, this is what this is. Everything that you have said and your husband has said is this. There is no way that it cannot be this. Right, okay. So on top of the strokes, the heart attack, it's now I'm having seizures. So I said, okay, well, what happens now? And they said, well, you have to surrender your driving licence. You have to, I have a Motability car. I had to give that back. And now I have to wait until I have the proper medication for the seizures and see a neurologist before anyone will let me go back to work. So I was hopefully going to be going back to work like next week. I'm the assistant manager of a Premier Inn of a hotel, part-time. I did try and work full-time. It didn't work. I couldn't function as a person. As you all know that have this condition, when you're tired, nothing works. If I'm tired, I can't talk, I can't walk, I can't think properly, I get confused. I get confused anyway, but I get more confused if I'm tired. And when I was working full-time, nothing worked. I was basically asleep to eat and to work. Everything out, every other time. I was awake to sleep. No, I was awake to eat and awake to work, and every other time I was asleep. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, so part-time. I've got the company are really good to me. My boss is really good to me. I have reasonable adjustments at work. It's fantastic. So I then have all of this. Now, the effects that I had from the stroke, brain fog, I get very confused. I'm exceptionally forgetful. I need to have things written down all the time to function. I do get confused. I have a very short temper. I get very emotional very quickly. I have no feeling whatsoever in the right-hand side of my body. None. It's always cold. Sometimes you can't get a pulse from there. you can't get blood from there. You know, had a left side stroke, right side affected, which is very inconvenient when you're right-handed. But I have managed to learn to write again. It's not quite the same handwriting I had before, but you know, it works. So yeah, I've got those deficiencies. My leg, I didn't quite get like what they say is drop foot, but I do struggle to walk. Again, more so if I'm tired. In fact, there are days when I just don't even get out of bed, because I get out of bed and I fall straight down. So there's no point in me even trying to. So yeah, I do struggle with a lot of things. I also have Raynaud's phenomenon. You know, the one where the tips of your fingers and your toes go blue in the cold, or when you're cold, not even if it's cold outside. But so I have that on top of other things. What else do I have? Oh, livido reticularis. Those in the know what that is. It's the purpley reddy rash that you get. I mean, I don't have it full time permanently, but when the temperature changes, it becomes more noticeable on my legs and my arms. It's just another symptom, if you like, of APS that you have. Oh, the Raynaud's is really painful as well. Like when the blood goes back into your fingers and stuff, it can be excruciatingly painful. Yeah. So that's kind of my story. I've decided to make this. Oh my god, I've been talking for ages. I've decided to make this Instagram page because I wanted to try and help people in the same situation as I am. I'm also trying to find anybody that has had strokes, is on warfarin, and has seizures, because I want to know what their experience is moving forward, you know, what treatment they've got, what kind of life that they can live with having all of this in one go. It can be very isolating. My husband and my family try. Really hard to help me. And I try and hide really hard to hide the bad days. Mainly because I'm a strong person and I'm really stubborn. I'm really stubborn and I don't want anyone to see that side of me, because it's not fun. So I thought, you know, whilst I'm off work, you know, living in this boredom constantly, trying to get by day to day, that I do this page and inspire other people to maybe speak out. One thing I've noticed, which I'm exceptionally passionate about, and I know that it kind of drives other people mad, especially this lady that I follow on one of the antiphospholipid Facebook groups. Not physically follow, that would be weird, but you know, she's privately messaged me a couple of times saying I'm a bit close to the mark, is the massive disconnect between treatment of APS. I have had treatment at the hospital, you know, St. Thomas's Hospital, where, you know, Dr. Hughes actually, you know, knows what he's talking about, where this condition came from, when it was named. Unless there is a very good reason why you cannot take warfarin, like you're an allergic or something else, there is no better medicine for you than warfarin. It is the only recommended medicine for somebody with APS. And when I say APS, it's for people that have had clots, in general, strokes, PEs, heart attacks, DVTs, those kind of things. There is the other type of APS where people struggle to, have a baby and stuff. I don't know a lot about that one, I'll be honest with you. It is the same condition, but some people only get symptoms when they're pregnant or trying for a child. I don't have that strand of APS. I have primary APS. I have the general one. And I will shout that from the rooftops for as long as I have to. Warfarin is the only blood thinner that you should be on. It is the safest one for you. And I won't stop speaking out about that, because I believe wholeheartedly, and every doctor I've ever been who's ever gone, oh, maybe we can try you on that Riaxaban or whatever it's called. No, for APS, it is not advisable. Anyway, so I realise I've been talking now for like 20 minutes, but I wanted to put some context behind me as a person, behind what I'm trying to achieve, and how I think this page can help people. I want others to speak out. I want them to know that they're not alone. Yeah. Thanks.